Hello, friends, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about Drafting 101. I am not the greatest drafter in the world. Full disclaimer right now, I have only done some like casual stuff with my friends and then paid attention in tournaments, watching the draft, all of that. But I do love the drafting process, and it's something I want to improve on myself. And I was recently contacted by a casual team saying that they want to improve their group of friends, but there's not a lot of resources out there for casual teams trying to improve like that. So I got this together, uh, recorded it with them. I thought it was going to be fun to share with you guys. I forgot to unmute my mic for about an hour of it. So here it is again for everyone else, fully recorded this time. By the way, if you like this video and you love drafting, check out the Discord linked below because we have set up, we being me, I've set up a channel for you to find other people who might be in a team and you can practice drafting there. And I'll also be there if you have draft questions and such. So maybe? Okay, let's get started. Basic drafting goals of this video. We're going to focus on one play style. There's a lot of different things you can do with drafting. That's why it's so complicated. So we have to start somewhere. We're going to start with one play style that I think many of us will be familiar with. From there, I recommend you guys work on that play style and start to expand your hero pools a little bit. Pick some heroes that fit this play style. And then after that, then you can start thinking about the next play style, hopefully made a little easier by the fact that you've expanded your hero pools that'll fit more than one play style. And this part is technically optional. You can just be good at one play style if you really want to. It's up to you and your group of friends, but this is the general plan of this video. Now, what is that style? Well, the style is going to be focused around a game-winning core. Probably the carry, but it could be the mid. If that sounds familiar and you're thinking, wait, isn't that what normal pub games are? It's like, yes. That's why we're doing this. A lot of pub games are based around this concept. So it's what most of us have experience with, and that is going to be the easiest thing to get into. And it's common because it works. 5 random people can sort of make this strategy work. So hopefully 5 coordinated people can make it work well and have an easy time getting it together. The reason I want to use this as our starting point is not just because of everyone's experience with it, but I think the game plan can be simplified a lot to be rather straightforward. And the game plan comes down to asking the carry, are you ready to fight? Your Phantom Assassin, Troll Warlord, whatever. Hey, are you ready to fight? If they are not, you make space for them. If they are, you group up for key objectives. I think this simplifies the overarching game plan that many casual teams struggle with. Like, are we supposed to be in the off lane right now? Are we supposed to be here? Like, what are we doing? If you build a plan around a core that is going to win the game for you, then it becomes a lot easier. You just say, hey, is our core farming? Great. Oh, they're not farming? Where can we get them to farm? Oh, we can get them to farm in the bottom half. We should go to the top to draw attention there. It makes the game plan easier, and I think that is a good place to start. Now, continuing that concept, game-winning core, then there's a couple components we need to fit this game plan. Playmakers. Someone needs to do something. If the carry is going to farm for about 15 to 20 minutes, let's say, well, the enemy team's not going to let that happen. They're going to go mess with them unless you have a playmaker who draws attention somewhere else, because the enemy team also has a carry, also trying to farm. So let's go bother their carry and draw the attention of the team to that area of the map, and our carry will be farming. A playmakers can come in 2 forms, I feel like. You can either be a hero that forces objectives, and if the enemy team doesn't react, well, you get a free tower, and that's great. Or you are someone that has killing potential. You find the enemy carry in the jungle, and you kill them. You go look for a small team fight, a little skirmish, and you kill people. This is playmaking. I personally lean toward, when I think of playmaking, I lean a bit more to the side of, like, can this hero kill other heroes? People like Storm Spirit, Void Spirit, a little bit. People like that. They're going to do some farming, of course, but they're also going to have the option to be a little bit active. It does not have to be the mid laner, by the way. Those were just some examples, but we're going to get... None of this is strictly related to a role quite yet. Next, we're going to need someone to frontline and or initiate. These are different things. Bristleback is a frontliner. He stands at the front of a fight, and people don't really want to fight Bristleback. But behind Bristleback is the carry. So you see, playmakers are going to make space for the carry in the game to farm, but then in an individual team fight, if your 6-slotted drow just gets jumped and killed, that's not great. So the frontliner makes space in that little event happening there, and they stand in the front so that the carry is safe to be in the back and fight. Initiators are very similar in that regard. If a Sand King blinks and stuns a target, then Drow is free to hit that target because the target can't do anything. They're stunned. Both of these things are nice to have, but not strictly, like you don't need to have both. It is good to have at least one or the other, though. Now, an extra note on initiators, I recommend having more than one. Now, that doesn't mean you need a hero like Tidehunter and Enigma, but the game is easier when you have a few more options to initiate. Take Enigma. He has one big cooldown, Black Hole. If he does not Black Hole, you don't have a stun. So yes, he's an initiator, but what is the ideal Black Hole? It is to get like multiple people in there. So if he never sees that, he can't initiate. Well, why isn't the other enemy team grouping up? Well, they know there's a Enigma, so they're going to stay separated. You need to give them a reason to get together. So if you have someone with a lower cooldown stun, someone like Clockwork who can go in first, that makes the enemy team react. Clockwork ults on top of the enemy carry, Drow. It's always Drow, I don't know. They go on the Drow. The enemy team goes, oh, we got to help our Drow. They walk in. Now Enigma can get the group Black Hole. But he can only do that if someone else goes in first. So someone else could be a frontliner, forcing a response, or a nether initiator. The benefit of having multiple initiators as well is that it makes it a little easier for both of them. If this guy sees an opportunity, he goes in, the other guy will then get the follow-up, or vice versa. And it's nice to have some low cooldowns and some, bigger ones. Like Enigma Black Hole, great to have. But that, we're either all in or not. There's no casually, black holing and deciding, I don't really want to fight. That is a massive loss. But if you have Sand King, stun. Oh, look, the enemy support's here. Let's not do this. Okay, it's just a Sand King Q. Easy. It's a low cooldown ability, so not only can we test the waters a little bit, but we can keep looking for playmaking chances. If we see the carry top, let's go do that. Get the kill. If it was Enigma, that's it. You're done. 2 minutes. More than 2 minutes, really. A Sand King, a Clockwork, an Earth Spirit. All right. Killed the carry. Do you want to go see what's in the jungle? Because I have my stun again. Yeah, let's go. So having this mix is great for smaller playmaking events, but also bigger team fights that'll happen later. So I really like having multiple sources of initiation. I just think it gives a lot of flexibility when you're playing the game. If you ever feel constrained, like it feels so tough to do anything, you probably don't have enough of one of these two. Next thing, kind of connected to these, is that you want some hard crowd control, and you want a decent amount. It's mainly stuns, but it can include hexes and fears. Soft crowd control are things like slows and silences, because the enemies can still do something. Hard crowd control prevents the enemy from doing anything. That's why stuns are so good. Now, stuns make the game easy to play. If you're winning, you simply stun someone and you kill them because you're ahead. If you're behind, then one of the only ways you can come back, well, not only, but one way you can potentially come back is that the enemy carry who's really farmed gets overconfident, they dive, you chain stun them, because when they're stunned, they cannot kill you, and you kill them. And suddenly, this huge influx of gold from killing this massively farmed hero helps you to get back into the game. So stuns make the game easier to play. We also want a decent laning stage. This sounds obvious, and maybe it is, but it's easier to play the game when you don't start massively behind. So when you're drafting, we're looking for at least some good lanes. Thing is, it's very hard to win every single lane in Dota. So at minimum, you want at least one good lane, because then you have something to do. If you lose the other 2 lanes pretty badly, but you have one strong hero, then that strong hero can go make plays and make space for the 2 losing lanes. It gives you something to do. If you lose all 3 lanes, it just, like, what do you do? Everyone is so behind. It is so hard to play. So, of course, we want more than just 1 lane. We'd love to get 2 and maybe even 3, but that's a little greedy. So, aim for at least 1 and hopefully make at least another one competitive or close, maybe skill-based. But yeah, you need that 1 winning lane. Team fight. I was a little conflicted if I should put this on here, because honestly, you can make a draft without too much team fight. But at the same time, depending on your bracket, team fights end up being kind of like, they always happen. Whether you draft a lineup or not around it, it feels like it's very easy to let full-on team fights happen in like any kind of pub game that isn't like the highest tier. So generally having some kind of team fight in your draft will help out a lot when these kind of fights inevitably break out, either at high ground or Roshan or towers, whatever. Now, wave clear. This is a big one that many people miss. Wave clear is a precedent to allow a lot of these other things to happen. If the waves are all in your towers, someone needs to be there. The creep wave is a lot of gold. Someone's got to be there. And if you're stuck at all your towers, well, if 3 heroes are there, then you only have 2 other heroes to do anything else. And then, well, that's kind of hard. So you need to be able to push out waves to the enemy side, and now you have a bit of time to go do something as 3 or 4 of you. It's also required, because if they see 3 heroes at your towers, well, then they know where they are. Okay, so let's not be there. Let's go smoke and go make a play. The enemy team should ask, where are they? They're losing their towers to creeps. That is a lot of gold they're missing. What could they be doing that is more important than defending their towers? There's only a couple of things that are more important than defending your towers. One, not more important, but often the reason is you're bad. So that could be a reason. Assuming the team is not just bad, though, they're doing something that they think is more important. They could be doing Roshan, or they could be smoked up looking for a kill. So we should go check out one of these. We should go check Roshan, or we should play carefully, because our creeps are hitting their base and they're not doing anything. So that's why it's really important to have wave clear if you want to make plays. You got to shove out your lanes, and then you can go do stuff. It's also very important defensively. If your hard carry is going to go jungle and make space, you can't just lose all your buildings. So you need someone to defend your buildings, push them out, buy time for your carry to farm. In a lot of different ways, however you apply it, wave clear is pretty important. And it is possible to play without it. You'll see drafts sometimes where their wave clear is not the best. Those are usually dependent on crushing the laning stage and going from there. And if you guys feel like you can do that, go for it. But I generally recommend having some wave clear, because usually games are not so one-sided. Next, ask yourself, how much hero damage do we have? If you get too caught up on these other things, we'll be like, oh yeah, we'll ravage them, then we'll chain stun them with this and chain stun them with that. Turns out we had no damage, and we just chain stunned them for 10 seconds, and then they killed us. Uh-oh. So you gotta have some hero damage to actually get kills, either in that full-on team fight or when you're making plays, you know? You don't want to just rotate, stun them, and it's like, all right, that was it. You want to actually get kills. So how much hero damage do we have amongst different heroes? Now, oftentimes, since we're playing this game-winning core idea like a PA troll, they usually bring a lot of the hero damage towards the end of the game. But if they have to do everything, it is tough, because if they get controlled in any way, like Halberd, just stuns from the enemy team, things like that, kited, then you're just not doing damage, and it's tough. So having some damage on the other heroes, everyone has some damage, but a sizable amount, that helps. In that same vein, tower damage. Okay, the enemy team doesn't approach you because you have great team fight. Now we spend 2 minutes hitting this tower because we have no tower damage. So tower damage is also kind of like, eventually you'll have tower damage. As you scale, if you go into a bot game, you can buy a Deso and AC on any hero and you've got tower damage. So eventually you can get tower damage. But what about before that? What about when we want to make plays sooner? I want to get kills and then take objectives. So do we have any heroes who are good at that? Some support, some off lanes, mids, sometimes the carry too, but what is our tower damage? Not only is this important for early plays, but it's also really important for sieging high ground. Is that going to be really difficult? We took this huge lead, we win all these fights, but now they're sitting in their base and like, what do we do? He's like, we're all so bad at taking the tower. So, like, what is our situation there? Again, not strictly required because you do have catapults, you do have creeps that'll chip towers, and at some point, if you just kill all the enemy heroes, like, you may be slow at taking the tower, but those death timers really get up there later in the game. So if you kill the enemy team for 2 minutes, you'll get the towers. But it makes it easier if you have it sooner. And then finally, Roshan. Many teams outside of, the higher brackets, pretty much Immortal or higher, really. Divines too, I guess, a bit. But anything below there, they don't prioritize Roshan enough. Again, eventually everyone can do Roshan. But how long do you want to wait? Ursa and Huskar, they can do Roshan at like 10 minutes on their own almost if they have a good game. Someone like PL, even in a good game, he can't really do Roshan until like 30 minutes or something. He's just not great at it. So some heroes are better at Roshan, some are not. Roshan is a great way, though, to win the game. Either taking tier 2 towers and winning team fights to get the lead, or to use it to break high ground, and generally all of that. You use it for everything. Anything difficult, it's great to have the Aegis, Cheese, or any of the other goodies to get a huge advantage and break those high grounds, break those difficult objectives. So it's good to have some way to do Roshan in your draft. So now, basic draft order. This is the general goals you can have in each phase, the bans and the picks. Again, like, don't worry too much about specifics. This is basic draft order. And, like, first and last pick, I don't want to get too far into that because that is getting advanced, but that does kind of play a role. So, like, let's just get into it and I'll show you. First banning phase, you're looking to ban broken heroes you don't play. So, like, right now, Lycan, really popular. If you don't play him, you don't want the enemy team to play him, so ban him out. And then if you have the chance to do some homework, see who the enemy team likes, ban those. You see they always like to first pick Ogre Magi. Ban them. Like, why give them heroes they're really good with? Just ban those out. You can think, like, if you have a bigger plan involved, like, you can ban a bit towards that. But I think it's also just okay to just ban out OP stuff. Now, I specify things you don't play, because this is where first and last pick come into play a little bit. If we play Lycan and we're okay first picking Lycan, then we don't have to ban it, because if it's still in the pool, we're just going to take it first phase. If the enemy team doesn't want to deal with it, they have to ban Lycan. So prioritize things you don't play, because you should be comfortable picking things you do play, all these broken heroes and such. So then, with that in mind, at the first picking phase, I am a huge fan of picking one support and one core. Not strictly in that order, but at the end of your 2 picks, you've got one support and one core. You don't always have to do that, but I like this. The reason this is different from pub games is because in a ranked pub, 10 heroes are banned at the start, a bit randomly, and then you pick everything. That means that if I pick a Wraith King in phase 1, well, the enemy team is probably going to pick some counters in the next couple of phases. But in Captain's mode, I could pick Wraith King in the first phase, and then as we get to those next 3 bans, I ban out the worst matchups for Wraith King. And that way, I guarantee that Wraith King has an average to good lane, because we've banned out all the worst possibilities. So that's why it's possible to pick a core. And, many cores may not think so, but supports have equal impact in this game. So sometimes revealing both supports kind of puts you in a bad position. It limits your draft a bit. And so I really like one support, one core. Now, of those, what should you take? Some things I might recommend: reliable heroes. So things that, even if they get counterpicked, they're just going to be good because that's what they are. Like a Nyx. Nyx has Invis to find out the enemy heroes, and then he provides some stuns. When is that bad? When is it bad to have stuns on your forward position? It's like always good, and you can pick things that make it even better, and it already limits the enemy draft. It's a very reliable hero. Even if the enemy tries to pick around it, like, you're going to get to do something. So reliable heroes, really good. Flexible heroes, things that could play multiple roles. So Tiny right now could be a 4, could be a core hero. So that gives you some flexibility. And you may know we're going to play Tiny core. The enemy doesn't know. Then they have to think like, oh god, okay, if it's 4 Tiny, we'll do this, and if it's mid Tiny, I need like you're making them think, and it's easier for you. Plus, it helps you get a lane you want. So you can see, okay, it's not a very good core Tiny game. Let's put him in support. Or it turns out to be a great core Tiny game. All right, we'll just our first phase core Tiny, that'll work. Go for it. Like, it's very nice when you have a flexible hero. So it can be a support or a core, but it could also just be between different cores, mid or off lane, mid carry, whatever the pick is. So like Monkey King right now counters a lot of mid heroes, but he's flexible. So if you pick Monkey King early, the enemy team already can't pick certain mid heroes because otherwise Monkey King's there and he's gonna have a great time. So we're stuck to other mid heroes. But what if it's Monkey King carry and they pick some like whatever hero and we counter that with our last pick or something? It puts the enemy in a really tough spot. Broken heroes. The hero's broken, so you just take it first phase, and you don't care that it can be countered because it can't be countered because it's broken. Heroes like Lycan right now. He has been a little bit nerfed, but still a little busted, so Lycan sucks to play against. You could just first phase Lycan. Strong combos as well, so IO Gyro is something you might see. Just yeah, there are some counter picks to it, but it's like, IO Gyro, cool. You really want those two heroes together. And if you just picked IO, then in the bans, the enemy team is going to ban it out. So you go ahead and pick that strong combo together because you know that they're so strong together, it doesn't matter that you reveal them right away. And then finally, just a like random bit of advice. Avoid revealing an entire lane. So like if you pick a Winter Wyvern 5 and a Wraith King, if you pick Winter Wyvern and Wraith King, it's probably Winter Wyvern 5 because she's not a great 4. And then Wraith King right now is like mainly a carry. Like you could put him in the off lane, but then you have an off lane Wraith King. So that's probably your safe lane combo. And then that can be easily countered because they know, okay, this is what they have. So what should we pick for the off lane that's going to be great against both these heroes? And then you see them pick Timbersaw and you're like, I don't really want to play this lane, but what am I going to... I'm going to put Wraith King mid? No. I'm not going to put him like off lane, like Wyvern mid. Like we're stuck. We're stuck with this lane and now they've countered it and it sucks. We've lost one of our lanes in the draft already. So if you can avoid revealing the whole lane unless you already know what you're playing against. Like you see them also pick their hard support and their carry, so you pick your 4 and your off lane. That could work. So next, second banning phase. So some things you should look to do here. Protect your flex pick. So if you picked a flexible Monkey King, you know he doesn't like certain mid matchups. So let's ban a couple of them out. Now the enemy team thinks like, okay, maybe it's a mid Monkey King. Well, if it is, who do we pick? Because they just banned out the good counter to Monkey King. So then they pick someone else who's like okay against Monkey King. And then you move Monkey King to the safe lane and pick a different counter to whatever they picked. And it's like, ugh. So that gives you an option where your Monkey King can still go mid or carry and can't be counterpicked too easily if you protect it with some of these bans. You could also set up your last pick if you already know what you're going to take. If you know you're going to take some illusion heroes, ban things good against illusion heroes, and maybe still avoids like some of the other things that the enemy needs. So that's the last point. So if you see the enemy needs wave clear, you can kind of like target all these things together. So you decide, okay, I want to protect illusion heroes. I want to remove heroes with wave clear. And I want to remove heroes that counter Monkey King. So then you ban those kind of heroes. Kind of consider these different ideas and then pick what you can that sort of fits that. So then in your second picking phase, you're going to pick another support and another core. Again, you don't strictly have to follow this, but I like this. It's uncommon to pick a last pick support. Usually you're looking for like the lane winning or game winning core. Spoiler alert, that's the last pick and phase. So usually your support here, because you should have a bit more information on what the lanes are. So now you can pick a support who's going to have impact, who's either going to win a lane or be very effective in the game as a whole. Try to leave your flex pick still open. So for example, if we took Monkey King and then we pick Wraith King, Well, that Monkey King is probably mid because Wraith King is in the safe lane. So it's kind of like revealing the puzzle to the enemy team a little bit, where they know, all right, like it was flex, but now we see it. This can be okay if you see their matchup, so you're like, okay, it's fine. You're like, yeah, Monkey King to the mid lane because they picked, I don't know, they picked Storm or something, and you're fine with that matchup. So if they reveal something, you can do this. But if they don't reveal it, if they're still holding their mid pick, maybe try to pick your off laner here, because then Monkey King could still be flexible. You're going to look for a winning lane here, whatever lane it is, safe, mid, or off lane. You should have some information at this point. So try to pick something good for the lane so that we can hit our requirement earlier. Like we want at least one good lane, hopefully a couple. And then think about those drought requirements we talked about earlier as well. Do we have wave clear? Do we have team fight? Do we have a playmaker? We need some of these. So try to fit it into these picks here. In the third banning phase, you're looking to protect your last pick and ban out what the enemy needs. So at this point, the draft is 8 heroes in, and you should have a guess, like, okay, they need a mid hero. So let us ban out some mid heroes. Oh, they also need a playmaking hero. So playmaking mid heroes, let's ban that out. Or, again, if you know, like, oh, I'm going to illusion hero these guys, then you remove counters to that. Now, for your picking phase, this is probably where you're going to pick your last core. And then you want someone who fits one of these categories usually. They either just win the game. It's the kind of hero you pick, and the enemy's team, their heart sinks a little bit because they're like, we've lost. There's, like, we're going to try because, like, of course we are, but this draft is so good. It's that kind of surprise pick. Something like a last pick Spectre, and the enemy team has no response to it. You could also go for something that just wins a lane. So you see their mid matchup, so you just pick a lane winning mid hero to try to crush their mid and to get strong as a hero and then snowball that into a win. Even if you're not like the perfect hero for the game, you just do really well because you crush your laning stage. And you could also go for a reliable hero, especially if you aren't last pick, so the enemy team has it, and you're not sure what they're going to take. Just pick something fairly reliable. Someone like Lena. You've banned out some of her matchups she doesn't like, but then she generally does what a Lena does, no matter who the enemy team picks from there. So you kind of know, like, all right, whoever they end up picking here, it should be at least a competitive mid lane, should be decent for the game. With all of that in mind, here is an example draft I did with the team. Now, this was before I talked to them about all of this, so this is just what they knew beforehand. And then I was on the Radiant, so here is me applying what we just talked about. So I'm not even going to talk too much about trying to predict what they were banning, just to kind of show, like, you don't have to focus on the enemy team. This was all about my own draft and doing a bit of reacting to their draft. So for opening bans, I didn't try to research them or anything like that. So these are just some broken things I didn't want to deal with. Nyx and Lycan, they're just generally decent bans right now. Again, if you have a further plan in mind, then you can ban a bit towards that. But for now, just broken heroes. So first, I see a Wind Ranger. That's fine. I was just going to take Coddle. Coddle's all around a decent hero right now. Some would say potentially broken. I'd say he's still kind of being figured out. I think maybe he has some counters that we're just not fully aware of. But right now, he's pretty good. Combos with a lot of heroes. Solves some of our wave clear. Gives us some playmaking abilities with recall, and has some nice combos. So if you think back to some of this stuff, he like combos well with other people. Now, when I saw this Spirit Breaker, I am thinking two things. So first, let's react to Spirit Breaker on his own. Spirit Breaker wants to charge people and get something done. So I can pick tanky people that don't care about Spirit Breaker, or I can pick elusive heroes. People that, sure, you get charged, but then when you see him coming, you just dodge it. So those kind of two categories were coming to mind a little bit. And then I was also looking at these two picks. This could be the 4 and 5, but it could be a mid or off lane Wind Ranger. Either way, neither of these heroes have the best AoE damage. So we don't have to pick solely on that, but that is something coming to mind. The two of these heroes have decent stuns, but again, dodgeable. You see the charge coming in. The ult has a long wind-up time. Shackle Shot, not the most reliable ability in the world. So I'm already leaning a little bit to that. I am thinking like maybe they can't handle too much illusions, and maybe they can't handle, not that they can't handle mobile heroes, but like if you can dodge stuff, like that could be strong this game. Now I kind of already planned to pick Tidehunter with this Caudle because this lane combo is good. And if you think about Tidehunter, what does he fit with our Caudle? So again, he offers a bit of hero wave clear. He has decent hero damage, and he is this playmaker, frontliner / initiator, provides this stuns. We're filling out kind of things we need. Doesn't hurt against Roshan because he can apply negative armor and he can tank Roshan. So all around, a fine pick. Good in the lane, good combo. He's tanky against a Spirit Breaker, so if they try to dive him, I'm going to get Kraken Shell off, and then I'm going to Ravage. Kraken Shell also good against Wind Ranger. If she does end up being a core, she can get like Maelstrom MKB, but at least in terms of just the typical actual damage, I'm blocking a lot of it. So Tidehunter ended up being like a pretty good pick here. Now, this goes back to our idea. If you pick Tidehunter in a pub game, he would be countered. I know this. And look at that. Look what I banned. I banned things that could make Tidehunter's game miserable. So Monkey King and Ursa, they don't care so much about Kraken Shell, and they can kill the Tidehunter. He doesn't like those matchups. Let's just get rid of them. Undying, pretty strong right now as a support. Really good against melee strength heroes like Tidehunter. Tidehunter and Caudle don't have the best auto attack animation to kill Tombstone, things like that. And so let's remove that as well. I am protecting my core pick here with these bans, and I didn't even care what they were banning, to be honest. So next, what do I need? I still want some stuns. Thinking back to what we said, I don't want just one big stun and that's all I have to work with. I'd like some lower cooldown stuns. I want some playmaking ability. My wave clear is okay right now with the Caudle. Doesn't hurt to have a little bit more. And we need someone to actually kill heroes. Tidehunter can kill some heroes, but it's a little tough. So I ended up taking Shadow Shaman. He's all around decent right now. I wasn't fully sure if I would do Shadow Shaman 5 or 4. You do have a bit of flexibility there, but in the end, I think Caudle with Tide is a good combo, so that's what I chose. Shadow Shaman, the Hex, so I can instantly handle Spirit Breaker, the Shackle for like Wind Ranger, because if you... like, she's a pretty fragile hero and depends on running around to avoid getting killed. So this would provide some more lockdown and a bit more tower damage and Roshan potential with his ultimate. Now they pick Silencer. We talked about it later. This was a bit of a... they were kind of panicking at this point. They were reacting to me rather than me having to worry about them. So I wasn't worried about Silencer because I have a Tidehunter. Tidehunter has Kraken Shell, and he is a natural Guardian Greaves builder, which means he'll get off the silence, and then he'll Ravage, and then my team, who might still be silenced, they'll be fine. Now, I do want to consider, because I wanted someone more mobile, I wanted a playmaker, now they need to handle the silence, so they're probably going to need to be someone who builds a Yule's Scepter or a Manta Dagger, a Manta Blade, something like that, to deal with the silence. So I chose Puck. I think Puck allowed a lower cooldown ultimate rather than the Ravage. So like I can still find pickoffs with Puck ult, and we don't even have to commit Ravage. If we just get the kill, that's fine. If the enemy team brings a huge rotation, then we do Ravage, and it's like, okay, sure. He's an active hero, adds in hero damage, finds kills, things like that. And he has the dodge for like Spirit Breaker, Shackle Shot. He'll build Yules to deal with the silence. And he's in a fairly strong spot right now as a hero. And if he's against Wind Ranger, like if it is mid Wind Ranger, Puck does fine. In fact, I think Puck kind of wrecks that matchup, to be honest, because if you Dream Coil the Wind Ranger, she can't run out. And in the same way, if you Dream Coil Spirit Breaker, he also can't escape. So Puck handles the silencer, is good against what they have, and is good for what I needed. Then they pick this Wraith King, and the pick is fine, but I will have last pick. So because I've filled out most of what I've needed on this stuff, At this point, I just need a carry who will win my game. The whole original concept, our game-winning core. So I see Wraith King, and I know that, okay, I could pick someone focused on mana burning, but I also want someone who might build Manta because of that silencer, and someone relatively elusive so he doesn't just get killed by Wind Ranger and Spirit Breaker. So at this point, I was thinking I want an illusion hero. I was originally thinking Naga or Terrorblade because Naga, first off, she has her own Dispel in her ability. And then she also buys Manta. Both of these heroes buy Manta. So in Naga's case, she Mantas off the global silence, and then if another silence gets he puts the last word on her, she dodges it with her Q. These illusion heroes would do fine against a Wraith King, even though he builds Radiance. Like, he's not that great against illusion heroes. If it's a Terrorblade, then I can copy the Radiance as well, so then he doesn't really want to go Radiance. And if it's a Naga, if she has the Manta, he uses Global Silence, I use Song, and we just wait until my team's silence goes off, and then we ravage them. The combo is really powerful. So I knew I won an illusion hero here, and I was already feeling like I won at this point. Whoever they ban, I didn't really care. I was hoping they wouldn't ban illusion heroes, but if you think about it, I mentioned two, Naga, TB, and as you can see, I ended up picking up PL. I had 3 options, and they have 2 bans. And in fact, there's other options as well, but like, let's go with those 3. I have 3 options, which I feel comfortable winning the game with. Like, they can't ban them all out. Now, because I know I want an illusion hero, I am going to ban to protect that. Now, what do they need? I looked at this and I said, okay, they probably need an offlaner. I want to ban heroes that do that. Now, they could send Wind Ranger to the offlane, but Wind Ranger against illusion heroes, like, I don't really care. So I want to imagine that Wind Ranger goes mid and they pick an offlaner. I don't want an offlaner good against illusion heroes. And if my illusion hero goes to the jungle because they're having a bad lane to farm up, I don't want to deal with someone who can like quickly take towers and all of that. So in the end, I ban out Timbersaw and Underlord. I think these heroes were good against illusions and kind of fit that. You know, if I leave the lane, they quickly shove it in and they can take towers. So I banned those. They end up picking Mars. And this is where I ended up switching to PL. I wanted someone. PL still fits everything we talked about before, but now PL can escape Arena in a way that Terrorblade and Naga can't. Naga, maybe she could just Song until the Arena ends. Like, that was also an option I was thinking about. But then at the end of the day, I decided PL just seemed a little easier to run. He goes Diffusal, he gets the Manta, he tanks up, and then there's just no way for them to kill him. Doppelganger is a very low cooldown, so as they throw out all this stuff, they throw out Arena, they throw out stuns. This stun, very easy to dodge. The silences, the charges. Like, I don't think they ever kill PL. So I picked PL, and that was that. I felt pretty confident about this draft. Congrats. I managed to outdraft some lower-ranked people that came to me for help. Way to go. Showed my dominance. But really, so this was me applying what I talked about. And after this, I wish my mic worked. But we did talk about it, and they talked about how they felt like these first 2 picks were fine for them, and then they started feeling like they were just reacting to me and having a tough time. And that's why I think doing all this stuff really helps a lot. Now, to be fair, and to you guys if you're watching, a big restraint to drafting is like what heroes you actually play. So like, mine was a theoretical draft. I get to just pick these kind of heroes, and I don't have to worry about if I play them. But for you guys in an amateur level, honestly, even at my level, I can't play I can't play Caudle. Have you guys seen me play Caudle? I suck at it. But you are limited by what you can actually play. So that kind of brings us to this slide here. Random tips to end up the video. Start by listing out heroes your team likes. These could be heroes that someone is just really good with and you always try to grab, or it's something they like to play and it's a video game, you know, it's okay to let him play something he likes. But just create this team hero pool. This is what we have available to draft from. From there, it helps you figure out some stuff. Oh, these guys are kind of broken. We could first phase them. Oh, this is a strong combo right here. We could pick these guys together. Oh, I play Tiny, you play Tiny. This is a bit of a flex pick here. That helps you sort out some of the stuff we talked about before. Now, from that hero pool, just make a couple random drafts and see what you think of them. Do they fit the criteria we talked about? Or don't even listen to me. Make your own criteria that you think a draft should have. Does it fit? Look at it. Don't worry about what this imaginary enemy team is going to pick. Don't worry about bans. Just pick 5 heroes and see if it works. Pick them out and go, we don't really have any wave clear here. So who could we change to get wave clear? You change someone. And now you go, oh, we don't really have a playmaker. Who do we, what could work? Change someone. Try it and try to get to a draft that works, that you think, yeah, this is a pretty solid draft. I would go into a game and I think, I have a decent chance. Maybe these are my strengths. Maybe these are my weaknesses. You know what? We can ban the weaknesses. Wow. And that's kind of how you start to figure out drafting. Now, from those drafts that you come up with, see which ones could be an opening ban or pick. So oh, we're weak to this stuff. These could be our bans. This combo works. And hey, we had another draft that used that combo and another draft that used that combo. We can open with that because now it's a little bit flexible. And based on what we see the enemy pick, we can go with combo 1 or combo 2 or combo 3, whatever. So this is the opening that fits all those different ideas. Now, I do want to emphasize to focus on your own game. You are limited by what you play, so theoretically, it doesn't work. You got to play what you can play. But start with what you can play, do what we said, and then base it from the enemy picks there. So don't fixate on just one-to-one counter what the enemy has, because that usually ruins your team play, the whole team concept, all those components we talked about. Whenever you're so worried about what the enemy picks, it just doesn't end up great. Even if you sometimes end up with a good draft, then it's I don't really know how to play this draft. Do you guys? I've never really thought about this. It's better to have this solid plan that everyone understands and everyone's comfortable with their picks. I think that's better, especially on a casual level. Let Team Secret worry about it, okay? They can worry Zai has to play this against that guy. We got to counter that. That is for the professionals. We're just casuals. Just try to get a good draft together that you're good with. Start there. And then finally, my last tip for you guys is try to think in general concepts instead of specific heroes. This helps a lot with your limited communication time. And in a way, do this in your pub games too. Don't tell people to play specific heroes. You don't know if they play that hero. So as you're trying to pick your mid hero for your mid player, don't go through a list and say hey, can you play Puck here? And he goes, I'm not really good at Puck. And you go, oh, okay. Can you play Void Spirit? And he goes, well, because of this guy, I don't really want to be a Void Spirit. And you go, oh, okay. Can you play, why are you doing that? Tell him, hey, man, I need you to play an elusive / mobile hero. I need you to be active to make space for the carry. And you need to do, a decent bit of damage. You need to be able to get kills. Then the mid laner will take that information. Okay, I need to fit these categories. And I will look at the enemy team and decide, I can't do this. Okay, I'm good against that. Okay, I can play this hero or this hero. That is much faster. So explain what you need and go from there. And that's how I think about the drafting as well. After I pick my first picks, I think, okay, I've got some wave clear, I've got some team fight. I still need these other broad categories. And then from there, I pick heroes. Oh, I need a team fighter. I could pick Sand King, Underlord, all sorts of heroes like that. And it flows a lot easier rather than one by one sort of deal. And I feel when I do the hero thing, I end up with wonky ass drafts and they don't work. So that's it. Let me know if you guys like this stuff because I love drafting. So I'd love to get more into it. If you guys don't like it, though, then it's not worth the time. So let me know what you think. If you like it, we'll keep doing stuff like this. And, yeah. Good luck out there. Go try some of this stuff. Come up with some good drafts.